Hello, my name is Audrey Spew, and today we are going to be talking about the HTML5 video tag. A little about the video tag is it specifies a standard way to embed videos in a web page. It uses several different types of media to do this, the main three being MP4, WebM, and OGG. It has a lot of different attributes to customize this video in player for yourself as the author and for the user. Now, JavaScript is the common way to manipulate that video, and it's used to do a lot of really cool things that we will look at later in this presentation. And finally, the video tag supports global attributes. So, onto the syntax. Here you have your opening video tag. Right here I have included an ID, width, and height. You don't actually have to include all of these, of course, but I thought that they would be indicative of a typical video tag. Down here I have three different source tags. These are open tags, and that means you shouldn't close them with a backslash. Here I have MP4, WebM, and OGG, the main three. I have included that in orange so that you can better see the types here. Now I have these three included, but that doesn't mean that's going to pop up with three different videos, the same video. It's just going to have one video since it's one video tag, and then it's just providing to the user three different links that it can grab that video from. So if the MP4 wouldn't work, go to WebM, and then so on. Because there are several different browsers that don't support certain file types. So you want to provide all three of those so that your user can make sure that they can see the video. And then if they don't have any of those, this statement tag at the end should show for them. It should say your browser doesn't support HTML5 video tag. And that's important because you still want your user to know what is happening. If someone's using a screen reader or something else, you want to know that something is there. And this is a way to do it. And then after that, of course, you have your closing video tag. On to browser support. So on the left here we have our browsers. You have Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Opera. This is their supported versions where they started supporting the video tag. And then on the right here, you have the supported formats for each browser. You can see that Safari and Internet Explorer both don't really support that many. They do, however, still do MP4, but you should keep that in mind when you are trying to work towards user experiences. You should understand that other users aren't going to have these things like the Opera, Chrome, and Firefox will, so always have MP4s. So, about these video file types. The first one I have here is MP4. It is a QuickTime file format created by the Moving Picture Experts Group, or MPEG. It stores audio-visual data as a multimedia container, and you can use a few different adjustments kind of here that I have shown, like .m4a, which is sometimes used to indicate non-protected content, and m4p, which can indicate fair play encryption. And that was used a lot with Apple videos, but they're using those less now. So that's just for your information. And next we have WebM. It is a video file format by Google. What's interesting about this is they created it to have its natural format be HTML5. So it's really convenient to use in your video tags. It also acts as a container for VP8 and VP9, which are both open source compression methods. And finally, we have OGG. OGG is a free open container maintained by the Zipf.org Foundation. It is kind of disputed on whether or not it is named by a computer game or something else, but the developers came out and said it is named after jargon from this computer game NetTrek called ogging, which is defined as doing something forcefully, possibly without consideration of the drain on future resources. So whether or not that accurately describes OGG, you can do with that information as you will. And if you would like to read more, I have, that was looked up through the wiki page and then through their sources that they used. They have some interesting things, more definition on the ogging. It uses more jargon from the video game, and I felt it was not as helpful for the actual file format, but if you want to keep looking through that, feel free to look that up on the wiki page. And more about OGG, it can contain independent streams for video, text, audio, and metadata, and that text can also include subtitles for your videos, and it typically indicates that the video having this OGG isn't restricted to copyrights, although I would suggest personally that you consider all videos to have copyrights before, innocent before proven guilty kind of thing. So, on to attributes, and we have a ton of those, so I'll try to go through that really quickly. So, first we have autoplay. It is Boolean, so true or false. It will play as soon as possible without stopping to finish loading data. So once that page comes up, it's going to start playing. This isn't suggested because a lot of users don't enjoy being bombarded with sound or video as soon as you load a page. But if you feel like this is the experience you want your user to have, autoplay is the way to do it. To not have autoplay, you just completely take this out of your video tag. So doing autoplay equals false won't work, even though it kind of seems like that since it's Boolean. So that's how you would do video with height and then autoplay, just the keyword there. On to buffered, this determines time ranges. So at the beginning of your video or with the end, and then it returns the time ranges object to the user. So right here I have my button that should start my function, which is down here. My function, it should open an alert that start, which I have fixed that L in later development, but it's still there in the picture. And then I have my video, which is this bar over here, which goes up to the video. Buffered.start equals 0, because you want it to start at the beginning, and then plus end equals, or end plus vid buffered.end. And you want to start that as 0, but it will take into effect the actual end that you have for that video. So I will show you that really quickly. Exit. We're going to look at that. I have it right here in my script. We're going to go over here, reload, and we're going to play this real quick. Give it some time. We have 3 seconds on that. Get buffered range. And it's showing us how much it's buffered in this. Okay. Oops. Didn't mean to close that. There we go. Now, back to the presentation. So, controls. For controls in the video bar, you just add the keyword controls, similar to how you just add the keyword autoplay. And you can see it in this picture on the bottom left. It just adds like the buffer bar here, so you can move around in the video, the play button, and the speaker. On to more attributes. Height and width, we kind of went over that. Important things to consider is you have to use pixels, according to developer.mozilla.org, and not percents. Percents will not work, so make sure that you have pixels there. And then loop, which is pretty, if you've worked with JavaScript at all, it's a regular thing. What it will do will just restart the video as soon as it ends, and that's another one of those keywords here at the end that you can just add on. Muted, also Boolean. You just add muted here, and then it will give you this little icon. You can mute and click it to unmute, similar to how you've seen, I'm sure, on lots of different videos. and played. It shows how much time has been played on a video. So this is similar to the buffered, only this one just takes into account how much time has been played. So from 0, the start, to the end of whenever you paused it. I have an example right here that I did earlier. I started it and then ended it 2 seconds. When I pressed the button, it gave me this. So that is what would show up for you. Again, more attributes. There are lots of them, and these aren't even all of them because I felt it was too long. So we have preload right here. It's not supported in Internet Explorer, so be sure to remember that. It allows the author, us or you, to control when the browser loads something. So the video. None wouldn't load the video when the page loads. Metadata, which only loads the metadata when the page loads, and auto, which loads the entire video when the page loads. And so the syntax for that would be video, and then preload, and then you would put none, metadata, or auto. And poster. Here is really convenient because you can add an image that is shown while downloading or up until the user presses play. And if the image isn't specified, then the first frame of the video is used, which is commonly what people see. I'll show you an example of that. So we'll come back over here to my video. You can see I have this picture of Yellowstone, and then when I press play, it changes to my slideshow. So back to the present. And then finally, plays in line. This one's pretty straightforward again. You will just play in line in the playback area. That doesn't mean it's going to default to full screen. It'll still use width and height, but it just changes block inline stuff. So we're going on to fun with JavaScript. You can see all these buttons here. There's lots of things you can do. So I changed things a little around in my actual code. So this image or this video isn't what's actually on my site. If you want to see what I did. But you can see this script hasn't changed at all. So we have all these buttons here. We talked about this one. Oh, pointer. We talked about this one earlier. And these 4 we are going over. So we have this function, play pause, if my vid, which is up here in my video ID, is paused, then play. Else, if it's play, then pause. Pretty straightforward, right? And this just makes button. These 3 are just buttons. It just changes the width. So that is all it does. It's pretty cool. It's nice. I'll show you in the picture or on my web page that I've made so that you can see that in action. And that is all I have. Let's go to that web page. So here we're going to reload it. Let's move this over so you can see all the stuff. Let's see. We're going to play it. Let's get our buffered range. We see 0 and 68, which is the entire thing. We're going to pause it here. It should tell us about 7 seconds. About 7 seconds. Now we can press this. Now our function said if it was paused that it should play. And it played. And then if it isn't played, or if it isn't paused, it should play. And then we press this, big, which changes it to pixels, small, and then back to the normal size. And that is everything I have for you guys on the HTML5 video tag. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Bye!